Yeah, hi everyone. I believe I am live. This is with regards to CET. Shocker, there is no sections in the examinations. There was no DI set, there is no sections in the examination. So, right? Surprise, surprise for a lot of people. So, yes, yeah. If you have any questions to ask, please feel free to ask. Okay, whatever queries you have regarding CET slot one, I'll try to get reviews about it. About no sections, yesterday we had got a news saying that MCA exam, MBA MCA exam didn't have slots and didn't have DI, didn't have sections. We told our students we didn't want to put live because we were not sure about it and it would put more pressure on them. Hi, honey, glad to see you. Yeah, but yes, there is no section, no data interpretation in the examination. And I will let you know as in when information comes in right now, I'll give you more information. But yes, there were no DI sets. It was more or less similar to the yesterday's MCA exam, I believe. So from what I have, again repeating it, there was no sections in the examinations. So it was jumbled paper. We had talked about, actually I had a session yesterday with my students talking about if it's a jumbled paper, what to do, because it was similar to the MCA exam that was happened yesterday, and therefore there was 15 to 20 marks of vocabulary and no inequalities, no input output, no inequalities, right? So I'm repeating again, there was no input output, no inequalities, 15 to 20 marks of vocabulary, very high weightage for vocabulary. Uh, there was a new type of puzzle based on wrong statements. Okay, thanks, Zohar Ali. Yeah, so new type of no section and how to go to the general strategy. Okay, if there is no section, then go to the paper 1 to 200. That's one strategy you can go about. Pick up the easy ones that you can solve first, and in the side by write down which question will come back to later on. So, for example, I believe a puzzle is very tough. I'm not going to solve, leave it. Just mark, guess mark, and go forward. But I feel there is a RC which I want to come back to later on because it will take more time. I'll write a question number in the side. But there are some easy questions, vocabulary, I'll solve it then and finish it off. So, any question that doesn't take time and anything that will is easy, please solve it in the first round and then come back to other questions that takes time in the second round. Yeah, there were questions on same meaning, opposite meaning. RCs are more or less easy but lengthy. Okay, thanks, early. Okay, that's all. Synonyms, antonyms, lot of questions there. So, lot of questions on vocabulary. 15 to 20 questions on vocabulary is what was there. So, again, I repeat, no input output, no inequalities, 15 to 20 questions vocabulary, and a little different type. Sorry. Cat con strategy, yes, sort of. I mean, the strategy will remain similar, but your mixed questions, so going to 200 question mix would be a little bit uh, difficult and etc. So paper was supposed to be moderate to difficult purely because uh, um moderate. It was a little difficult because the paper was new, so a lot of people found it difficult, I believe. Um, so everything was mixed, verbal, LR, cont, etc. Right? I'm just waiting for any particular response. Yeah, yeah. So I'm live. Yeah, but I'm just waiting for this one. Cont was basic, easy if the basics are clear. So easy cons. Vocab was there. Puzzles were there, yes, but puzzles. Some of the questions, as already mentioned, were a little different with a wrong statement around on that aspect. So that's what was there. Tips for the second slot, as I said, have a strategy in place. For the second slot, people look at what was the type of question that came in the first slot and the number of questions that came in the first slot. Based on that, prioritize saying that this is the 100 questions I'll solve first. Solve that, and then maybe you can go on to the others as such. Visuals as is something on 10 to 15 questions. Right, great. Yeah, so you can get what you need to do is find out a type of and a number of questions that comes in each topic, and then try to prioritize. So go in two rounds. First round, pick up all that easy and then try to solve, and then go back to second round with the second level of difficulty. Actually, as I said, it was based on the MCA examination that was held yesterday. The same pattern was an MCA examination where there was no DI set and there was nothing on that respect. Okay. Uh, So they were paper cutting abstract. So one question on paper cutting with 5 images. Answer was given, you have to find a question. Okay, there were around 10 to 15 abstract questions that was there, but one paper cutting question. So go to the paper cutting question which before you go for the examination. It was different from normal abstract, not the regular abstract. And the abstract was quite different from the normal abstract. It was quite different. So just go through, not a normal abstract reasoning, maybe a little different with regards to what are the odd and out, etc. So IBPS type questions, sort of in terms of abstract. Your LR 2 or 3 sets were easy. Selection was difficult. 7 state new type of selection questions. New type of selection questions as such. There were 3 to 4 RCs, total 15 to 18 questions that was there. Then lot of vocabulary, no DI, no vocabulary, either synonym or antonym had to be picked up. Okay, in vocabulary, most of the questions were synonyms or antonyms which had to be picked up. So you had to pick up synonyms, antonyms as far as the exam is concerned. Then no DI. So, no, there were questions on number series. Number series, there were questions. So you have to look at the number series and go about it. LR family tree. LR, there was a question on family tree. And then there were individual questions. And there were a lot of individual questions in LR. Like the photograph, if you see in the photograph, the person. So yeah, so basically the family tree, individual questions, and etc. So family tree puzzle was there, individual questions. Same for direction. So there were directions, individual questions. There were family tree, individual questions. And set for direction. And there was one set for direction. So one set for. Quant 20 to 25. Just type quant type on this. I'll read from there. Okay. Okay. There were around 20 to 25 questions on quant. 3 to 4 geometry. Okay. So 20 to 25 questions on quant. And 3 to 4 geometry questions from that. And a lot of questions on vocabulary. As I said, I'll set one question on paper cutting where answer was given. Right, I'm just putting it whatever information I'm getting. So just look at DI. There was no DI. There was no input output. There was no nothing on that as well. I mean, a lot of people who prepare a lot on these areas must have found it little this one. Yeah. So as I have typed out 10 to 15 questions on 10 to 15 questions on visuals. No, ideally the paper pattern will remain similar in all the slots. So if there is no DI in the first slot, there's high likely there will be no DI in the second and third slot. That's how it is. Okay. So that's how it goes. Yeah. So quant is not very difficult. Quant is easy. So if you are comfortable with quants, you can definitely solve quants. That's how it goes. Just trying to get as far as possible as reviews as possible. If anyone of you have got reviews, then do put it across. Puzzles are mainly individual questions, a lot of logic individual questions on directions and family tree. No, not 50 questions on quant. There were around 25 questions, 20 to 25 questions on quant, not 50 questions on quant. RCs around 3 to 4 RCs, total 15 to 18. They were easy RCs but lengthy. Okay. There was a set on direction. There was a set on family tree as far as puzzles are concerned. Yeah, anyone has written maybe can put up the reviews out here and then go about it. Yeah, Shashwat, if you can come in, great. I'm not comfortable with how to go about it, but yeah, please, if you can contribute, it will be great as such. Let me just check. Quant topics I asked in the exam were varied quant questions. There were 3, 4 questions on geometry, which was there. so which was asked as far as possible. Uh, okay, just give me 1 minute. I'll just come and just confirm. So only four puzzles. That's what I'm getting review about. Um LOD was moderate. It was not an easy paper. It was a moderate, difficult paper. But fact that it was a jumbled up paper that made it a little difficult to have a strategy in place. Um was the puzzles lengthy? Not really. It was average puzzles. You could solve up, take the puzzles. If you're good at puzzles, you can solve the puzzles, and then go about it. Uh, so no sections, around 200 question. No DI, DS also is not there. No DS. Um, um, no inequalities. Yeah. So no logical inequalities also as such. Okay, I'll just review whatever I said earlier. I'll again repeat as it's a jumbled up paper. It's similar to the last year's paper as far as sorry, it's similar to the MCA paper that was conducted yesterday with all jumbled up. We had a session with our student yesterday, but we were not sure as to how it would go. Therefore, we didn't put it on live. But yes, there were 10 questions, as Umang mentions, 10 questions on syllogism as such. Jumble paper with a lot of weightage and vocabulary. So almost 15 questions on vocabulary, synonyms, antonyms, etc. Yeah, and no DI, no inequalities, puzzles, mainly singular question, but there were a group of family tree question, a group of direction question. Um, will cutoff decrease? Most likely whenever the pattern changes, people are stressed, and therefore the cutoff could decrease. But let's wait for uh, this one. There were higher mathematics questions also, it seems. Syllogism, there were around 10 questions. Reverse syllogism normally is not asked in CET, so you can skip that. There were two puzzles of cat level, it seems. Yes. So yeah. So yeah, there are no DA sets, so therefore no response. Don't know cutoff as JBIMS. It can vary from slot to slot to some extent. Just go and do your best. Okay. So puzzles normally are easy except one which was a tougher puzzle. So look at the puzzle, see if it is tough, you can leave it. But otherwise, the puzzles are comparatively easy. So from what I'm gathering from all this is that the paper is comparatively okay to solve. Not difficult, it is okay to solve. So that means people can solve the paper without very difficulty. But the problem is the forming of strategy because the paper is jumbled. People find it difficult to form a strategy and solve it. Okay, so that's what. Gaurav, I didn't won't write. I'm not writing the paper this year, nor did I write last year anyway. No section wise, Nitesh, as was mentioned earlier. Abstract was okay, but different from the normal CT abstract. Normal CT abstracts are find a next and find odd one out, but this time the abstract was a little different from what a normal, and you expect the same in other slots as well. Okay, so yeah, snap type of questions on abstract. Yes, Pratik. Uh, so number series were there. Yeah, there was number series questions, which was also there as far as possible, right? So yeah, I'll repeat this again as far as possible. What do you mean by jumble paper is? Like, there'll be five questions of quant, then there'll be five questions of puzzles, then there'll be two, three questions of five questions of verbal, then there'll be five questions. So that's how the jumble pattern paper is. Yes, Kunal, I think it was 2013-14 paper type. There was 1 year where the paper was rubbish, let me put it this. But yes, it was 1 year where it was. And I think it is on similar type, but I think the paper is better than that. Because during that year, the paper was so easy that all the people could complete the paper as such. Uh, how many questions should you target? I think like a normal CT exam, you can target that much. Um, if I'm if there are a lot of synonyms antonym question, that should not take time. So don't waste time on synonym antonym question. Solve it as fast as possible, and then try to go about it. Yeah, abstract 10 to 15 questions. Okay, LR, there was one lunar arrangement which was there. One was flow based, one was family tree, one was matrix based. So four LR sets which are there. As I said, lunar arrangement, floor based test, family tree, and matrix based. So four So look at that. Yeah, whatever you practice was wasted. I agree with that. I mean, sometimes CT does have uh, this way weird paper. Yeah, but look, the strategy has to be simple. Anything that doesn't take time, please solve it first. Anything that takes time, solve it later. Cutoff will be 150 plus, may not be, it may be lower because of the panic that will happen because of the change in strategy. But yes, there, that would be there. So it could be lower than 150. Oh, Shashwat remember all questions, great. So that means the paper was comparatively easier. Okay, then the cutoff could go above 150. Shashwat, if you can give me some more reviews about the paper, since you attempted all the questions, that could be help. No quadratic comparison, that's what Prachi is saying. Great. No improved output, yes. Um, so no quadratic comparison. So previous there was no quadratic comparison as the question said. Um, Questions should be similar to bank exam, but not exactly like the previous CET paper. That's what it meant. Uh, Cutoff one. Okay. Saswat, who attempted all the papers saying cutoff for JB will be 135, but I think it could be slightly higher, 140 plus. Um, yeah, 140 plus 150 plus. If people can attempt all questions, then there will be a cutoff increase. Um, there was two or three geometry questions, and there were some, higher max questions. Uh, so yeah, if you have basics of CAD, that should help hopefully in a con section. Matrix was moderate, family tree was little complex. Prachi has mentioned yes. So that means yeah. So matrix should be comfortable. Practice a matrix set before you go for the exam. Family tree, just go through it. So be comfortable with it as far as possible. Strategy, I'll come up with one more video with regards to what strategy you can follow tomorrow. Let's try to figure out the type of question for the second slot people. For the tomorrow slot people, by the time you go tomorrow, you will have the almost all the type of question that will come in your hand. So I don't think it should be a problem for people who are going for tomorrow, day after tomorrow. Okay. So here, verbal 3 to 4 RCs, 15 to 18 questions, two jumble para, sentence correction, two questions. Um, for vocabulary, 10 to 15 questions, either synonym or antonyms. Course of action was there, so there was critical reasoning, right? So one jumble para, I believe, was there. Okay, one or two, and sentence correction, two questions. Jumble para writing, two questions. Vocabulary, 10 to 15 questions. Something on that, yes. Shashwat is saying no para jumbles. Yeah, if there is one or two. Or if there is no, there is no. So people scapegoat. I think, yeah, Prachi. I hope there is normalization. Though they put that whole thing in the slot regarding normalization, but in the examination, but that was for MHT CT, so we don't know. So we'll have to wait and see what a normalization question will be. Quant number series were there. So there was number series in quant. There was 20 to 25 questions on quant. No RDH did not write CT. Questions were comparatively easy, so you can solve almost all the questions. So that means you need to target more questions. That means you need to go fast. Questions are moderate level. I don't think it was very difficult, except a few questions were difficult. I think one puzzles was very difficult. Others were solvable questions. So that means if you are looking at it, you can attempt a very high number of questions, right? There was critical reasoning, but you have to go really fast. So the basic strategy of the paper is don't waste time on question. Try to go as fast as possible and move ahead. That is the basic strategy that you should go about it, right? So geometry, as I said, 3 to 4 questions as such. So I'll repeat it again. No input output, no DI sets, no inequalities. So all that are gone. So what people banked on in terms of questions are not there in the examination. And so questions are mixture of easy, the more easy sums. That's what Rajanan says. 60% of sums were easy, medium 25%, and difficult 15%. The cutoff will drop because of the panic. I don't know, Rajanan, because the panic could be only in the first batch. I think the other batches, the second and third slot, will have some understanding of the paper and go about it, right? So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, etc. Section was, since the paper was not section, was very difficult to find out what exactly the section-wise paper was. So I mean, yesterday was my about 30 questions, left 70 questions in okay. Yeah, unfortunately, this will give a great advantage for people in the later slots. So that's what I'm assuming, that hopefully there will be normalization. So if there's normalization, great. Normally they don't have normalization, but yeah, I hope there is normalization. They put a video or document of normalization, which was slot wise. So in that case, I think this type of paper requires normalization on a slot wise basis, right? So we will just wait and watch and go about it. Cutoff in the second, third slot. In the first slot, the cutoff could be low because the paper was a surprise. But yeah, in the later slot, the cutoff could go higher because people will not be so surprised and will be able to realize. Good attempt would be all 200 questions, Aditya, if possible. I mean, that could go about it. Um, don't think of Tukka because the paper is easy. There'll be not too many ways of Tukka, and then you can go about it. Yeah, I think hopefully normalization should be done because they're very unfair for the first slot people. So in that case, if there's normalization, then the first slot people who were relaxed would be at an advantage. So the cutoff for the first slot will be lower. The cutoff for the other slots could be a little higher, assuming the difficult level is the same. But if difficult level goes up, then the cutoff will go down. That's how it is to be. One day vocab not possible. Just glance through it. You can't improve vocabulary in one day. You can take a word list and go through it, but that's how it is. Someone is texting. Yeah, someone is texting me in WhatsApp. Yeah, that's where I'm getting the information uh, and getting about it. Um, let me just try to get few more if I can. Puzzles comparatively easy. Yeah, so that's what. Got genuine attempts also, maybe you can go to maybe 170, 180. I think so because the paper is moderate, and with a lot of vocab questions it is possible to go fast. There are uh, blood relation questions, yes. um, yeah, and some question particularly saying the questions where equations were not clearly visible normally happens because if it's not clear, a lot has happened in the past where the questions are not very clear and you can't answer the questions, so it happens. Yeah, shifting time from one look. Problem with the first thought will be they will find that time management very difficult, and because they find time management very difficult, it will be difficult for them. Uh, Abstract was more of that snap type of questions. Abstract, not exactly. One was paper cutting. I think one must be fill four three parts given. What is the fourth part of the whole paper? All that was given. So I think that's how it would be. Okay. Then yeah, PO pre-level questions puzzles is what you can look at. Yeah, second slot and other slots will have advantage, but if there is a slot wise uh, percentiles, then it could be no advantage for other slots. So that means people who understand the patterns in the second, third, fourth slot, you will be fighting with those people who know the pattern, right? There were no sections, no quadratic equation, no approximations in Kant. So all the normal CT type of questions was missing. So it's basically the traditional CT type of question are missing. So again, no input output, no inequalities, no quadratic equations, no approximation. So traditional type of question that normally comes recently in all the CT exams have been missing. So it's a very surprising paper for a lot of students. So you will have to go over it. Uh, Changes, there may not be much change. I don't think if there is DI, there will be one of DI. Normally, they try to keep the paper pattern similar. So if they try to keep the paper pattern similar, so it will be similar for all of them. Okay, that's how it could go about it, and that's what could be the advantage as far as possible. Um, hmm. Okay, I'll just repeat it again. So 13 to 16 questions on vocab, or basically around four puzzles. One is linear arrangement with south north facing, and then blood relationships. Okay, then 10 syllogism questions which were there. Kant was easy, but no DI which was there. No quadratic, no data comparisons. RCR indirect based more or less. Parajumble single line question which was there. Snap type abstract questions. No approximation in Kant's. There were three grammar questions. So grammar also no major weightage. Uh, So geometry, 3 to 4 questions, questions on geometry, 3 to 4 questions, time and work, 3 to 4 questions, and papers overall difficult to moderate. That's how you get it, right? Overall. So I hope that helps. I do. Okay, I will just in the last one. I will just um, try to brief about what the strategy should be and what should the people in the second slot do. First is you all should find out, or the people in the next slot, find out what type of questions have come broad. I'm not saying the paper will be similar or same, but there will be broad breakup will remain similar. So if there were 10 to 15 questions of or 20, 25 questions of con in the first section, then most likely will be the similar pattern in the second section. So look at the broad breakup. I will be putting up a video with a broad breakup of the whole paper. That should hopefully help you. So 20, 25 questions of quant with maybe 10 to 15 questions of abstract, with 10 to 15 questions of vocabulary, with 15 to 18 questions of RCs. This is a major weightage, right? So if you take this takes around 70 to 80 questions of the paper. Rest, there were 4 puzzles which were there, matrix based, Luna puzzles, etc., which was there, matrix based and arrangements, etc. One puzzle arrangement. So and puzzles were not difficult. I think one puzzle was a little difficult, but otherwise overall the puzzles are not difficult. So could have been solved. A lot of individual puzzle questions which was there that you could look at, specifically directions and family tree. And yeah, so that's how you can look at the paper. I will come up with a video right now in some time regarding how the paper is. If required, I'll come up with a live session SS again, and then maybe we can talk about things, right? Fine. Yeah. Thank you, and just wait for the video. Maybe in another 15, 20 minutes, I'll try to put up the video. Thank you.